So here comes Jacob. Hey, Jacob, nice to have you along, mate. Thanks very much.
No worries. Can everyone hear me? Give me a bit of a yell on the chat if you can. I can see my bubble bobbling around, but I just want to make sure that it's still there. Perfect.
Yeah,
So
no, you're doing good. And I need to invite Jamie, do you say?
yeah, I tried to get her to access it through my link and then realized that it kicks me out every time. So that's why we were jumping in and out every time.
All good.
Yeah, like Jason said, we're basically going to do a bit of a run through about what VEND can really do for businesses, how it will really look to connect it up to your Rocketspark account, and then yeah, basically open up to a bit of a Q&A. We have booked out basically an hour, but to be honest, what I wanted to really get is a bit of a feeling on what everyone's questions or potential concerns would be, how VEND works and everything like that. And then we can start to sort of formulate a bit of a demo from there. And I can sort of deep dive into what your questions and queries might be and how that would interact with VEND from there. So has everyone sort of got microphones, or is it just more of an open chat that they're using on the right-hand side?
It's just the chat window on the open side.
Okay, cool. Well, first thing I should do.
I've invited Jamie, by the way. She shouldn't be too far away.
Perfect. Application window. Let's just go with this one. There we go. So you should be able to see my screen and my little bubble kind of bubbling around everywhere. I'll just close some of these other tabs from there. Perfect. So like I said, what I wanted to quickly run through was just a bit of an overview of VEND, then open up to any sort of questions you've got from there. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for me, I've just realized, so give me 2 seconds because I'm going to throw this, the sharing screen onto another one, just so that I can see the questions that are coming through as they're coming through. That goes into there. And you should still be able to see my screen. Can everyone see the hi Jacob Zibin here was happening within your stores?
Yeah, perfect, mate. Looking good.
All right, perfect. So what I'll run you through is just the very basics of VEND, how that will really help your business moving forward. Just a show of hands, has anyone on here utilizing VEND at this stage?
Oh. It appears that Jacob has disappeared. I'll grab him back on.
Yeah, sorry about that. Got kicked off.
So basically, the audience here, Jacob, is mostly our partners, and so they kind of set up these e-commerce sites on behalf of their client. They don't get too heavy in the day-to-day stuff, but I guess from their perspective, it's good to have a good overview of how it all kind of works together in terms of a workflow. So when they're talking to clients about what it does, they're all clued up.
All right, no worries. Well, to give you guys a short pitch on what VEND will really do to help businesses that you are speaking with, VEND is a inventory management platform for an in-store point of sale. Really good part about it is it does work with partners like Rocketspark. So what you're able to do is get your accurate representation of your inventory that's shown online, sell online through a sync functionality. So it makes it as seamless as possible for people to do. So they don't necessarily have to go down the path of, as soon as they sell something online, they need to go into their point of sale, remove the inventory item from there so that they don't have to send the awkward email of, oh no, we've accidentally oversold this or anything like that. It removes that sort of, that barrier, I suppose, from there. So it is a really good element for retailers, especially now in the new day and age of, I suppose, COVID-19 and people wanting to enable sort of like the click and collect functionality, or if they're wanting to do more shopping online, but they want to maintain their inventory levels. Obviously, this is a really good element where you're able to start to get that sort of stuff. So What I'll talk you through is some of the benefits through VEND. So I'll touch base just on this homepage to begin with. I'll talk you through some of the different sales reportings that you're actually able to do where it's online versus in store. And then what I'll do is I'll show you through the actual dashboard on how you can connect the VEND and Rocketspark together. And it is really, really simple to do. But yeah, if those don't know, I just want to quickly show you how to do it as well. So to jump straight in, as you can see here, it says, hello, Jacob Zoon, here's what's happening within your stores. So on this page here, this is where retailers are actually able to get a quick snapshot, a quick overview of exactly what VEND's enabling them to do and see their sales anytime, anywhere. So they're actually able to break it down hour by hour throughout the day. They can see how it's going day by day throughout the week. They can even see how it's going day by day throughout the month. So it's a really good way to start a retailer's day so they can come in and see exactly what's going on and see their basic sales figures. They can even scroll down here and have a look at some basic metrics along their system as well, see how they're tracking throughout the week, how they're going with their sales targets, their average sales per value, average items per sale, if they're up or down on the previous week within there as well, seeing their gross profits, their revenue, their sales with their repeat customers. So within VEND, there's an enabled loyalty system within there. So people are able to, I suppose, start to market to their own customers. So whether it be buy item A, item B, get item C for half price, or get a certain amount of loyalty points or dollars for those who are in Australia, sort of like a flyby scenario. The more money you spend, the more points you earn. You can redeem them at a later date. VEND enables all that sort of stuff as well for you. You can even come through here, have a look at your total sales count, as well as any discounts that have been offered by dollar figure as well as by percentage. Really cool thing about this is it's going to show me an overview of everything. So my online sales as well as my in-store sales across here as well. So it is a really good way that I can start to get that sort of breakdown across there. I can even have a look at my top products sold by revenue as well as by quantity as well. So it is a really good element of VEND to start off with for retailers, especially if they're on the go, they're not wanting to do too much of a deep dive, they can see it within there. Also, I do want to flag that if you do have any questions about any of these sort of sections, just feel free to type them in on the chat bar, and I'll do my best to answer them in due time as well. So like I said, this is a bit of an area, a bit of an overview of it. To get more in-depth reporting, you're obviously going to click on the reporting tab. This is where you can go that next layer deeper. So within here, there's three main areas. There's the retail dashboard, sales reports, and inventory reports. Retail dashboard, same as sort of scenario as the homepage. It gives you a breakdown of day, week, or month. Really cool thing within here is I can actually change up my date ranges if I wanted to. If I wanted to see how I was going 3 weeks ago, I can do that. If I even want to come through here, apply multiple filters and just look at one single outlet, I can do that. I can even apply multiple filters onto this as well. So if I wanted to, and I don't have mine called the right thing, but if I wanted to go through and have a look at, let's just say my VIP customers that had come through, I can actually see all that sort of stuff within there. If I want to see if my VIP customers had bought from a certain brand, I could do that. And then if I want to see if they bought a certain product, I can do that as well. And before, like, you guys will realize that I play lacrosse shortly because a lot of my products are lacrosse related. So yeah, you can do all that sort of stuff straight through there. So it is a really good element of where you can start to, I suppose, look and analyze the data that's coming in through your through the retailer stores. And this is going to be a really big benefit for them, especially if they're just starting out on maybe the online space or just starting out on the in-store space on the cloud. This is a really good area where they can start to deep dive into the data they might not have ever really looked into in the past. A really good area to keep an eye on as well is the average sales value as well as the average items per sale. The reason why I say this is a really good area if you're utilizing any sort of Afterpay or Zip Pay or lay-by or anything like that. It is a really good area to start to focus in on for retailers. The reason why I link it into these two guys here is because what you're actually able to see is if people are actually coming in and buying item A and item B and getting item C for half price or something like that, obviously that's going to affect the discounts, but it should also affect, not infect. I've got COVID on the mind, don't worry. I'm back. I'm based in Melbourne. I'm stuck here. I'm dealing with it in my own ways. You're also able to see the dollar figure as well as the amount of items that are actually occurred within there as well. So
yeah, Sorry, Jake, I'm just going to jump in there. So for those of you who don't know, when we introduced lay-by as an integration for Rocketspark, just the average sale value, the cart value, and average items per sale increased, I think, 60-odd% on average. So really, really important things to talk to your clients about in terms of being able to up that kind of ante. The other thing that I'm really liking here, Jacob, is that on the Rocketspark e-commerce platform, there isn't a particularly robust reporting dashboard. So it's great to see that you've got this as part of that service.
Yeah, and you beat me to the punch there. That was my next thing that was coming out is like in store, people are actually saying anywhere between like a 17 to 23% increase, and this is obviously pre-COVID, of people spend in store when utilizing your Afterpay, lay-by, zip pays, all those sort of things within there as well. So it is a really huge thing, and awesome news that people are obviously experiencing such a huge increase online as well. I mean, I'm a ploy for it as well. I use Afterpay quite frequently whenever I'm on like your catch of the days or something like that. I get my item straight away and I pay it off over time, and I don't have that hefty credit card fee as well. So yeah, it's a really good way to obviously utilize those sort of things within there. I can even scroll down along here, have a look again, even in more depth about my top products sold by revenue, items sold, discount, as well as a bit of a trend associated with them. I can even come down the bottom here and you can see there I've got my top salespeople as well. So again, this is probably more of an in-store experience, but you can actually see, break it down to say, okay, well, Jacob here has made me $4,100 worth of revenue through 9 transactions. He's got an okay basket value and basket size as well. But maybe there's a fictitious person here of Jane, and Jane's actually made me $6,000 worth of revenue with the same amount of transactions. What's Jane doing differently? Is Jane talking my customers through to say, oh, I can see you're getting A, B, and C. Maybe you should look at item X, Y, Z as well. So it is a really good way that you can start to use this reporting and I suppose sell the value to those customers about how reporting is really going to help to grow their business, because it's not only just giving them facts and figures, but it's actually giving them big business reporting for a small business. So that this is kind of the stuff that your big conglomerates start to look at of, okay, how are my frontline sales staff actually performing? Are they actually doing the best for my business? What can I get more out of them? I can see here that this product is trending downwards. What can I do to shift that on the way up again? It's all about using the figures that your customers are already collecting when doing these sort of transactions and starting to help them understand that they're able to do a lot more and make those better business decisions for them when they're going through this sort of stuff as well. So to go the full granular level of sales reporting, the sales reports is where you're going to want to go. Within here, this is where you can actually break it down and have a look at each individual outlet, register. You can go by sales channel. So if it was in-store versus online. So if I change this to my last, say, 2 years, you can see there I hadn't connected my Rocketspark account, sorry, but you can see there I've got a BigCommerce one that I hooked up a while ago. It shows me the breakdown between my in-store as well as my online. And sees where my 2 different channels are coming from. It's showing me my cost of goods, my gross profits, my margins, and everything through there. I can even do a comparison on seeing how I'm going in the same period, same dates as last year, or the same weekdays as last year. As everyone would know, there's a very big difference in trading between a Sunday and a Monday. So it's always a good way to start to break those sort of things down within there. You can see that I'm down 18%. I can even change up my date range, like I mentioned before, break it down all the way down to hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month, quarter, even year on year. I can even look at the different measures of things. So at the moment, I'm just looking at pure revenue. But if I want to look at, okay, how much gross profit am I making in each individual sector? I can start to see that. I'll get rid of this comparison because it's starting to annoy me, seeing that I'm down for the year. I can also come through here. I can have a look at the total sales counts that had occurred in each individual one as well. So it is a good way that I can look at things outside of just revenue and start to actually deep dive into what is actually working for me and what items am I moving in what area. So that's a really good way that you can start to analyze that sort of stuff, you can export it out. If you're a bit more of an Excel guru, or if the customer's a bit more of an Excel guru, you can go through there and export that sort of stuff out. You can even format the results if you wanted to, matching it by weekday, hour, all that sort of stuff, even applying multiple filters onto things as well. Really cool thing about, I suppose, the reporting elements within VEND is you can break it down into whatever area of focus that you wanted to go into. And again, it's going to flow through your online and in-store measures into one basket. So your customers are getting a complete overview of everything that's going on. It's going to show it all within here. So if you wanted to, and these are the two reports that every retailer that I've ever spoken to absolutely loves, because you'd be surprised how many retailers don't actually know how much margins they're actually making from their customers. From their suppliers. So within here, I'll quickly change this back to month. Actually, we'll go weeks. Weeks is better. We'll go the last 6 weeks. So within here, if I actually have a look and see what's going on within this, these suppliers, I've got Warrior, Sports Pro Limited, Howards, and WC. Within there, Warrior's making the most amount of revenue, followed by Sports Pro Limited, followed by Howards and WC. What VEND's actually enabling your retailers to do is to see, okay, well, although I'm making a whole heap of revenue, my gross profit and my cost of goods are way out of whack. So my cost of goods is way too high, my gross profits is way too low, and my margin's abysmal. So what we're actually able to start to analyze is to be like, okay, well, although I'm making a whole heap of money from a whole heap of revenue from it, as everyone would know on this call, business isn't all about making revenue. It's about making gross profits and margins. That's what people need to see. That's what's going to keep people in business. That's what's going to help them grow their business from there as well. So it is a really good way that you can actually start to look into this stuff and be like, okay, well, I'm only making 24% there. I'm either going to go back to Warrior and be like, okay, well, we need to meet halfway. Let's meet at 45%. That's what we need to be at. Otherwise, I'm going to start looking elsewhere. Or if the retailer is past that point with that supplier, they can be like, okay, well, Sports Pro Limited is actually giving me a 60% margin, and I know they've got some really good products and very similar to what Warrior was giving me. I'm going to start buying more from them. So it is a good way to, again, use the information that's available to you to start to grow that person's business from there as well. And this is how I would be pitching it to anyone that is looking at VEND for their business. Is it's going to give you that big business reporting and the ability to make those better business decisions without actually having to do too much, because it took me 2 clicks to get here. So once I clicked on there, and I'm here. So the big thing that I would say for you guys is not to necessarily worry about having to demo this or anything like that. Our VEND sales staff is more than happy to do any sort of VEND demos or anything like that. I suppose the thing that we need to utilize from your end is pushing the value of how VEND can help their in-store experience. And I'll touch on shortly how basically the two interact with Rocketspark and VEND. But it is basically going to make their life a whole lot easier if they are not integrated with anything at the moment, especially if they're coming from any sort of manual process or anything from there as well. So I'll pause really quickly. Any sort of questions or queries about any of these sales reports or anything that we've seen so far?
Anybody? No, not. Everybody seems kind of happy, I guess. Nothing sitting in the questions tab.
Oh, okay. Or maybe I've just scared everyone. Who knows?
Or maybe you're just doing such a marvelous job. You've answered everything already.
Maybe. Cool. So the next area that obviously is a very big focus point for a lot of retailers, especially when they're organizing sort of online and in-store, is keeping track of their inventory. Having worked across a number of, I suppose, larger retailers as well, inventory is always the big thing that people are finding. It just falls out of hand, and then it's kind of like a snowball effect. Once one thing goes, and another thing seems to go, and it all just starts to pile on top of each other, and then people just throw their hands up in the air. I'm like, I can't do this anymore, and that's what we don't want to happen. So if everyone's actually got their phone, one thing to look up on, if everyone's got an Apple phone or an iPad or something like that, a thing to look up for is the VEND Scanner app, because what that's going to basically enable people to do, it's called Scanner by VEND as an FYI. what that's going to basically enable people to do is keep a track of their inventory really simply and really easily. Because instead of having to buy any sort of bulky scanner gear or pocket scanners or anything like that, what this is actually able to do is you're able to do inventory counts partially, fully, whatever you need to. You're able to actually receive your stock orders and things like that, all by using this scanner app to scan the orders into the system, get them uploaded, and the customers are happy. It cuts their time down. I think we did a research about it. It's like cutting their receiving of stock time down by like 300%, and then the ability to actually do the partial inventory counts is reducing the amount of miscounts and the amount of missing stock, something about like 75% every single time that you do the order. Every time that you do the inventory count from there. So it is a really useful tool for people to utilize. It is something that not many others, if any, actually have that enabled for their customers free of charge. So it is definitely something that's going to set yourselves apart from when pitching VEND to anyone else from there as well. So something definitely to consider if you need any sort of demonstrations on it or anything like that. We've got hundreds and hundreds of videos available online on not only just the scanner app, but on anything that's related to VEND. There's anything and everything is available on our YouTube channel, or we've got help center articles that are basically getting updated each and every day as well. So yeah, there's literally, if we come up against something, or if our support team gets asked a question that can't be found in the support center, what they do is they go to one of our Slack channels that's document requests. They put that question in there, it gets reviewed, it gets added into the support center. So over the last 18 months, I think we've added in over like 2,000 new articles within there. So there's always going to be a question that's answered. If you can't do it, or the retailer's stuck anywhere, we've got the support team being able to assist them from there as well. And as an FYI, they are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, phone and online. So if you or anyone else has any questions, they're always there to be able to help them as well. So to jump back into this inventory reporting area, there's two main areas that I'll talk you through: the summary and then the actual inventory report itself, the performance report. So within here, as you can see, it's showing me a bit of a summary. I can actually add things onto this summary, so I can have a look and break it down by each individual supplier, brand, type, whatever I wanted to across there. I can even add in additional things along here. Maybe if I want to add my reorder points and reorder amounts, as well as my current inventory, I can do all that sort of stuff as well. Click update, and that's all going to be showing within there. So on this page, it's giving you whatever summary you wanted to look at across here. So if I use this reorder points and reorder amounts, is everyone aware of what those two meanings are? A reorder point and a reorder amount? I'm going to take silence as a yes. So within here, VEND's got a inventory management system. So obviously we need to have reorder points and reorder amounts, otherwise we wouldn't be very good at our job. So what you're actually able to do is similar to anything else that you've experienced before. As soon as the inventory level of 558 hits 21, it's going to prompt a reorder response whenever I'm ordering for that supplier to add that 300 into there. So it takes the guesswork out of doing that ordering or anything like that with that supplier. Really cool thing as well is, say this is below 21 and I've sent across that order to that supplier, but then it obviously hasn't arrived that next day. If someone else comes in and they say, oh, I can see that we're actually below that order amount within there, start this order and add these items for reorder points, it's not going to add it again. So it's going to realize that these items are on their way within there. And we've actually got a tab on our sales screen that actually enables them to see, okay, this item's on order and is due in at X date. So if they're ever at the front counter with a customer and they say, oh, I need to buy 7 of these, but you've only got 2, you can actually click on that button and see it will be like a little blue truck. And it says, this is what items are coming and when they're coming. And I'll show you that a little bit later on if we still have time as well. But it is a really good, useful tool to have for people, again, if they're ever starting out or ever needing any sort of additional assistance with that sort of ordering process. But the crescendo of these sort of reports and any inventory and sales report is the performance report. The reason why I say that is what it's actually doing is showing you a bit of a hybrid of your sales reports and your inventory reports. And if I use my blue top hat for an example, it's showing me my current inventory, the total amount of items I'd sold, my inventory cost, my retail value, all those nifty things. But a really cool thing it's going to show me is my days cover. So what days cover is essentially a breakdown of is the total amount of items that I've sold, the total amount of items I've sold per day, my current inventory, and my sell-through rate. And it's calculated to say I have 171 days before I run out of stock. So this is perfect if your customers need to do any sort of like forecasting to say, okay, I need to make sure that I order A, B, or C because it actually takes 6 months for these items to arrive. So I need to make sure that I order them ASAP. So it helps them to keep just in time with their orders. On the other side of the coin, you're actually able to see if there's any items that are starting to lag. So these Liverpool tops, I don't know why there'd be so many of them, but there are. You can see there I've got 1,800 days worth of cover. So I don't want to have 6 years worth of cover or 7 years worth of cover. I want to get these out of there as soon as possible. So what I can actually start to look through here is, okay, well, I can see there I've got a pretty high margin across there. So what I can actually do is I can start to maybe cut 10% off that and start to do an online and in-store sale just to start to clear out that inventory. Because as we all know, sitting on, over 1,800 days worth of stock, sitting on an inventory cost of $126,000, it's dead stock, it's dead money. You need to start to move it from there. So the VEND reporting is going to, I suppose, give you that full overview of everything that's going on within your business. It's not going to show you just in store or just online. It's going to show you that full overview of everything. And the reason why I've kind of held off and just showing you how to connect the two is because it's super, super easy. So I wanted to talk you through the very, I suppose, in-depth stuff before I jumped across to it. But before I do, any questions about inventory reports? And I suppose more importantly, can you see yourself selling the value of these reports to your customers? I'm not going to take silence as a guess this time. I want to see some responses. All right, perfect.
Yeah, I think that the majority of the client base is going to be small business, probably one small brick and mortar with an online presence. So for them, the devil is in the details. Their survivability is in these numbers. So I think it is really important that this reporting is part of the sales process. And I look forward to seeing the team pull it together.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said before, if there's any of your customers that do need any sort of demonstrations or anything like that, if you send them through to us or submit any sort of leads outlining they're utilizing Rocketspark, we're going to talk through the advantages of the two. We're going to talk through how their inventory is going to be able to be seen cross-platform, how it's going to be super easy to utilize, and basically just the cross-platform benefits of everything from there. So talking about cross-platform, I'll cross to this other platform now of how to set up the VEND stores. Between the two, it's super, super simple. You basically, there's this little sliding indicator. You say connect to my VEND store. It'll say, do you need to, well, I'll need to log in. So I log on to my store, which I've already done across here. Then what it'll do is it'll ask me to send this in what information it wants to pull across. So what is the payment type that's getting pulled across from Rocketspark over to VEND? What register have I set up across there? So what I would always encourage people to do is set up a designated register for customers to have it against that Rocketspark thing. The reason why I say that is it's going to enable people to see the breakdown between a in-store versus online, as well as it's going to, I suppose, give them the ability to not have their register open at 2 a.m. if someone's placing an online order and stuff up their cash for the next day. So if you have an online register, it's always going to be open. It's always going to be there for them. And the best thing about it is if they flag it with VEND, we can actually enable them to get a free e-commerce register. So there's no additional cost or anything like that for any of the customers from there. I heard a little bloop bloop, so I'm assuming that is, here we go, a question. Can you please show how to pick up what categories you can show on the left-hand side of the shop, like category, brand, product? So I'm assuming there's probably the tagging area is probably what you mean. Pick up what categories you can show on the left-hand side of the shop. Yeah. So if they've flagged that it's an e-commerce register, then they should be able to get a free register sorted out. You can speak to anyone within our support team. On the left-hand side, there's a chat functionality and say, hey, look, I'm setting up an e-commerce register. Can someone please help me out? And our support team will basically enable that in the back end so that they can get that sorted out. So that's Kath's question answered. The aura, I'm not 100% sure on that, on how to pick what categories you can show on the left-hand side of the shop, like category, brand, product. Do you mean on the VEND reporting, or do you mean in the Rocketspark dash? On the Rocketspark area, I believe it's all through the.
I don't think you can, Leora. Yeah, it's all done under products. But do you tag products in VEND other than with tags? So can you tag them with brand,
yep,
category, other filters?
Most definitely can. So if I go over to here. Click on my edit product. What I can actually do within here is I can give it a name, I can give it a brand, I can actually pull in the description. So obviously, if you're selling something online, you're going to want to give it a half-decent description, unlike me. You can even put in tags. So this is more easily filterable for any sort of reporting functionality, or if you were like sort of searching for an item on the sell screen and you were like, say it didn't have a barcode or something like that, you wanted to be like, okay, well, I know it's the AFL footy, but I can't seem to scan it. Type in AFL and it will come up with this particular product. So you can even put it in different product types. So I've got it separated to my sports category. I've got my image there. I've got my stock keeping unit or my barcode. I've got it broken down by supplier code and all that sort of stuff. So there is multiple different filters and things like that you can have up against it so that it can sync across. To my understanding, it should sync across all tags, all product statuses, and everything like that from there. I'll finish running through this, and then I'll pretty much troubleshoot on the fly and show you what should be showing, what should not be showing as well. Yeah, cool. So on here, in regards to sending information and syncing VEND to up, like I said before, you can see here that it's giving me the breakdown of all the different areas. Because I'm based in Australia, it's giving me the GST elements. Obviously, different areas, you can have different things. Importing products from VEND, again, super simple. It's choosing what location I'm going to pull it from. So is it going to be my Altonato store, my warehouse, my South Melbourne store, or anything like that? I've got all that breakdown within there. I can choose what shipping rate I want to have in there. I can get, basically, this is actually really useful to have so that people are actually able to see if I've made changes in VEND, that gets pulled across over into Rocketspark. And what I'm actually able to do is get a breakdown at the end of the day to say, okay, what has been pulled across and what hasn't been pulled across. So you can see here, I've actually got the email of when I did the initial stock upload. It's given me a breakdown of, okay, these are the products that I have in stock. I've got my Warrior, I've got my team jerseys, all those sort of things within there. It's also showing me the items or the brands that have been, not brands, the different things on each item that has actually been hidden. That I'd had certain settings set up for there. So I've got, you can see there that these items have been filtered out. So it's not showing the Evo, any of the brands across there, or the categories across there, or my tags. So what I could do is, yeah, I can obviously log into my dashboard and make those sort of changes. I think Jason might be better fitted on talking through how to disable those settings or enable those sort of things so that they do flow through. But to cut back to the actual import of things, when I was doing this, all I needed to do was connect those guys there, click through what item, where I was getting it from, was it syncing across all my items, or was it what was it doing? The product status is, again, super simple. It's showing me, is it going to automatically display straight away? So maybe if people have uploading items or adding items into VEND that they don't necessarily have in stock, maybe it's a case of let's put that on a hidden basis for now, and then do that later on. But then all you've got to do is basically click on sync products from VEND. That's going to pull out all the data that's over in VEND over into Rocketspark, make it super easy, super straightforward to do. And then whenever I make any sort of new product edits in VEND, what's going to happen? It's going to send that information. It's going to sync up with Rocketspark and send that across to my Rocketspark website as well. So it's not a case of I need to constantly go through there and make those sort of changes or anything like that. It's going to import all my products that I've had across there as well, or any changes that I've had on products as well. So I can see there was a couple of questions in there. If Jason seems to be all over it, so that's all good. So any sort of questions about the sync between the two? Or
just a comment from me, Jacob. So if we're starting with a brand new store, from a workflow perspective, is it favorable to load all the products into VEND first, do all the product information in VEND, and then sync to Rocketspark, or is it more ideal to do it all into Rocketspark and then sync back to VEND?
Ideal world, doing it in VEND would be the way to go. That'd be the easiest way, because you have got the syncing functionality straight from here. It pulls that information across, and you're kind of right to go. That's how we have it with basically all our online partners. It's enabling it in VEND, enabling it to sell in store. I suppose a lot of the time people, and this may change again due to post-COVID world, but a lot of people were, I suppose, setting up their in-store first, and that was the most pressing thing, is because they literally open the doors by X date. Like they need to open the doors because they've got staff coming in, they've got shipments coming in or anything like that, so they need to have the doors open by that date. So we want to make sure that they're selling out there online, out there in the big wide world, and then they can always be working on their e-commerce stuff as time goes on as well. So that's been our understanding and our things from there as well.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah. Cool. So any sort of questions, I suppose, on the VEND / Rocketspark setup process?
Yeah, cool, Kath. That's about what's being pulled through, if it's brands and categories and stuff coming through, which I'm pretty sure it does. Just need to get around the hiding of it, as Jacob showed you in the import summary. I'm not sure how to do it just off the top of my head, so I might have to investigate. Yeah,
it'd be down to settings. Like that's what it would, go store preferences, it might show me. One at a time. Hide border product blocks. Yeah, I would assume it's in some sort of preferences or something like that would be where you'd want to go, or where you'd want to have that sort of stuff set out.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I'd need to do more research into finding out exactly where it is and how to make those sort of changes from there. Cool. So I suppose the last thing I kind of wanted to show you is just the run-of-the-mill sort of sell screen within here, just to give you an understanding of what customers again would what would happen to them in store. Within here, within VEND, there's 3 different ways you can add a product to a sale. You can scan it by a barcode, it'll go beep, it'll go across to there. Obviously, be a bit more of a realistic beep than what I just gave you guys. You can also search for an item as well. So if I type in Nike, it comes up with my all my different Nike shirts along there. We choose Nike shirt, choose it in red, choose it in small, get that added across to there. I can even choose them in quick keys as well. So quick keys are maybe my most popular items, or maybe items that don't necessarily have a barcode or anything like that. So I can choose to have them as an individual product, or I can even umbrella them together under different categories within there. So you can see they've got sports ball, lacrosse, team jerseys, fashion items. If I click on that, you can see there it's got a whole another list of different buttons underneath it. Within VEND, there is a very long list of different things you can do with a product, but the biggest thing is you're actually able to add a whole heap of different variants and different attributes to a product as well. So if I use this Liverpool top for an example, I can have up to 3 different attributes. So you can see there I've got color, I've got size, and I've got material. So if I had it in white, in small, and in cotton, I can have all that sort of stuff within there. But the cool thing is underneath those 3 attributes, I can have up to 200 different variants of a particular product. And the reason why we're enabling that is it's a really good way for, again, retailers to start to get the specific information they need to start to see what's working within their store. And this information, people might be like, oh, it's too complex, I don't need that sort of stuff. I know what's selling within my store, all super common objections that you're going to face and we face every single day. But when you actually start to break things down and start to I suppose, figure out what their pain points are, that's where you can really start to see the value within what VEND can do for them. Because they might be like, yeah, my Liverpool tops are flying off the store. It's like every single sale I can see that I've got a Liverpool top that's in there. That's absolutely fantastic. But if they actually start to dive a little bit deeper into it, to be like, okay, well, I can see there I'm selling a whole heap of white and a whole heap of red, but I'm not selling any of the grey ones. So what's going on here? Maybe I need to put the grey ones on special for the next little while if I, again, dive into my data and see that sort of stuff. So it is a really good way that you can start to, again, utilize any part of VEND to start to sell the value of each thing. But again, this is what our sales team can do. We can talk through the benefits of it all. I just want you guys to have I suppose, that understanding, so that when you are talking to people, that you can say, yes, they can do this, yes, they can do that, and this is how they can really help your business from there as well. So within here, you can see here that it's actually grayed out and it's not actually allowing me to process this sale because there's something wrong. This big ugly triangle up here is telling me that this is my problem child. This is the one that's causing me the grief. If I click on that, you can see here it's actually telling me that I've actually got negative stock available. So within VEND, what it's going to do is it's going to prompt you not to sell into that negatives, because again, like I said, you don't want to be sending that awkward email of, oh no, sorry, we've actually sold out of this or whatsoever. Yeah, so VEND's going to not represent that on your Rocketspark things. It's going to show off as a 0 stock, so you can't sell necessarily into the negatives. I'm not 100% sure whether or not you can override that in your preference settings, but it would be my advice not to do so. The reason behind that is you don't want to be selling to the negatives, getting further and further behind, and then it's coming back to bite you in the bum, pretty much. So what we can do though is, if it's say it's an in-store transaction, we can say continue anyway, because maybe this person is physically holding the stock in front of you. You know you've been waiting for like 3 weeks for this shipment to come. You just got it this morning. You've put it out into the shelf, but you actually haven't uploaded into the system to say you've received it. So you can override that and say, yes, we've got this information, that we've got this stock here. I'm going to sell it from there. Say that I didn't necessarily have it, but I knew one of my other stores did. Really cool thing you've got within VEND is this area here that says show inventory and details. I can actually click on that. And you can see there, it's showing me my little blue truck, but what it's also showing me is all my other stores and everything like that as well. So I can see there, oh yeah, I've got 6 over in my Altona Meadows store. I can call them to come across and get them. Or what I can also do is I can click on this little blue truck, and it's telling me that I was actually meant to have one on the 31st of July. So and I had 1 coming. So it's not very useful for me right now, but you get the idea with the blue truck. It's showing you when inventory is meant to be due in, straight from there as well. So I'm not going to sell into the negatives with that, but a really cool thing and a really cool feature within VEND is our automatic promotions that you can actually enable within here. So let's just say that someone along here was like, oh, actually, I want to buy 12 of these instead of 1. You're like, of course you can, more than happy to. You can see there, TaylorMade golf ball. It's already been a promotion that's been allocated directly in there. So it's automatic. It's synced up straight to there, so that you don't need to write in any promo codes or anything like that. Same sort of scenario if they were like, oh, actually, instead of buying 1 of these, can I buy 11 11 tops. You're like, of course you can, more than happy to spend more money. You can see there's a spend and save amount that's been allocated. So as soon as they've spent over a certain threshold, they're getting a saving of 3% across there. But because this person's a really good person, they're like, oh, look, because you're buying so many, I'm actually going to give you a bulk buy discount. So I can add in different little notes straight across to there. Instead of paying 116, they can pay $75 straight from there. You can see their spend and save has dropped and it's dropped out because they must have gone below that threshold. If I was like, oh, actually 37% is a bit much, they can actually just pay 35%. So you can go either side of the equation to add that sort of thing in. Now that I'm giving away all this money, I obviously want to capture that person's information. Like I mentioned before, inbuilt loyalty program, adding a customer, super simple. You can either search them. So if I type in 793, it comes up with Ali Stevens. If I type in an email of test, it comes up with Joe Blow or Ali Stevens. If I even come through here, I just type in Jacob, it comes up with my name. So you can add those customers really simply and really easily to the sale. Really cool thing in here as well is I can capture extra customer information. I can see what if they've got any store credit, any loyalty associated with them, any sort of account balance. So if they've got any breakdown of, say, lay-bys or 30-day accounts or anything like that, I've got all that information straight within there. I can even add notes onto the customer. So you can see there someone's written in that, yeah, Jacob's a great guy. I don't know about that, but it's got it straight within there. You've even got store credit when it's been issued and when it's been redeemed, and customer information straight from here as well. So really cool thing within here is I can actually click on view customer sales, and what this is going to actually show me is a breakdown of the customer sales straight within here as well. So what you can actually see here, and I'll use this BigCommerce one again for an example, is it's showing me the breakdown of, okay, Jacob Zimmerman had created had done a sale on BigCommerce. It's showing me the order status. It's showing me what he'd bought. It's showing me the breakdown of information straight across there. You can see that he's at 123 Street, and it's got all the information that I need straight into there. So if Jacob came back in and was just like, oh, look, I bought this stuff from you, all you need to do is just search up his name and it's got all the information straight within here as well. How does Rocketspark pull through to the front? How does that pull through to the front of Rocketspark website store? So the customers would sync the other way. So customers, it's my understanding that customers sync from Rocketspark over to VEND, but the VEND doesn't go over to Rocketspark. So that sort of customer information. The reason behind that is we don't want to be creating customer accounts for people that might not never ever go online, and it kind of breaches a lot of the sort of privacy things because we're making them accounts that they didn't lawfully want to made. So it'll sync the other way. So if they make an account online, it'll sync across into your VEND hub here and say, yes, they've created an account, they've made a purchase online, but we're not going to sync across the other way.
That's right. And Kath, that also need to be on the e-commerce pro plan for the customer accounts piece. Cool. Thanks, Jacob.
Cool. Cool. So within here, you can obviously process any sort of returns or anything like that the customer would have. You've got all the ability to see the exact receipt information they've had all within here as well. So if they came through and they're like, here's my receipt number 60, it comes up with this information across here. You've got his information. You've got all that stuff within there. So you can do returns straight from here. You can actually go through here and email them off a new receipt, print them out a new receipt, even print off a gift receipt if you need be as well. So the specials / loyalties don't show up on the front of this front of the site. No, not at this stage. Correct. I am just to flag with everyone as well. We've in chats with the Rocketspark team we've done a lot more openness, I suppose, with our API over the last sort of 12 months. So there is a lot more easy functionality that is able to be assessed from the team. So I know Jason's working to get that sort of stuff sorted out sooner rather than later, to potentially be new product features for you guys. But I'm sure he'll keep you updated as time goes on from there. Going back to the actual sale as well. So say I'm happy with everything. Jacob's like, yep, I'm all good. Let's do this. Let's get this money rolling. And then he was just like, oh no, I forgot my wallet. I'll be back. So instead of you having to rewrite it out, or the customer having to rewrite it out and move on to the next customer and do all that sort of stuff, easy functionality, park sale, park it here, say Jacob's forgotten his wallet. If you needed to do any sort of quoting, so if it was for maybe a store that was like a plumber or something like that, or anything like that, you can actually do quoting functionality within VEND now as well. If you came back and was like, yep, all right, I'm all good, just click on retrieve sale. It's got all the information straight within there. You can go through here and you click through to pay. But if it was like, oh, I've actually got a promo code that I saw on your Facebook website as well. You said that if I type in FB, I get an extra discount. Yep, no worries. Type in FB, you can have that sort of stuff. So again, you can start to track those sort of campaigns that you're running. If you're doing a online versus in-store, you want to track that sort of information to say, okay, come in-store and say the word Apple because you're the apple of our eyes, or say FB because it's promoting on our Facebook page or something like that. You can create unique product codes and unique promo codes to start to display that sort of information and track the success of each one. Because what is it? What's the saying? It's like 50% of marketing works and the other 50% we don't know if it worked. So yeah, it's all about making sure that you're tracking those sort of promotions and making sure that you're using the right metrics to see if it's working or not. So once I go through to pay, click through to pay, it's got a breakdown of my receipt on the left-hand side. It's got a breakdown on the right-hand side of all the different tenders that I can use. So if I was like, okay, I want to pay $999 off worth of cash, done that straight through there. It's going to show on the receipt how much I paid in cash, how much is remaining. They're like, okay, I want to pay another $9.85 on loyalty. Done. Again, updated there, updated here. If you want to put it on account, you can do that. If you wanted to utilize one of our payment gateways, we do have integrations with, if you're over in New Zealand, with SmartPay, WindCave, and Verifone. If you're over in Oz, we've got integrations with the Albert. Over here, we've got integrations with Tyro, and we're actually got an integration that's launching next month with NAB as well. So that's all available to customers from there. But say for some reason Jacob here had another $500 in his back pocket, which I wish was me because it's the end of the month and I'm waiting for pay to go through into my account. But click through to cash. It'll tell you the amount of change that needs to be given, tell you the amount of loyalty points that have been earned. I can print out the receipt, print out a gift receipt. I can even choose different templates if I wanted to print it out. So if they had a, say, on account sales person, or if they had different levels of accounts, if they had a wholesale version of the business versus a I suppose B2C customer, you can have those different breakdowns. Same sort of scenario with your email templates, you can change those up. I can email them straight from here. I click through to complete sale and you can see that it's completed my sale. My one actually is logging me out. I've done this more for security basis. You can tell customers to turn that off if you want to, straight from there. So that's VEND in a nutshell. We've got 6 minutes left in the initial time sense, but any sort of questions or queries about, I suppose, the VEND side of things that I can answer right here and right now?
I've got the show and hide categories thing for when we're done after this too, so stick around, Tim, and I'll show you how to do that. Good question from Cass. When is a purchase being made? Is an email sent from Rocketspark? Is the seller notified from VEND also? Do you know that one, Jacob?
When a purchase is made. It should flow through into VEND. Yeah, you should get an email notification saying that an order has come through. You need to pick it within VEND. Like this order needs to be shipped, because there is different categories of what you can do within VEND, and this might be something again that we need to work on in regards to sort of features and stuff like that. But with the sales history, there's different statuses that you can have within there, whether it be picked up unfulfilled, delivery unfulfilled, it's been completed, or if it's been picked up completed, delivery completed, all that sort of stuff. So there is different functionalities within VEND where you can basically go through and say, yes, I've got this item and I've picked it, but it actually hasn't been shipped yet. And then you can, if you wanted to do sort of batching and things like that, like I'm going to the post office on Wednesday, I'm going to send all these orders all off at once. You can have them all set aside to say, yes, they've all been picked, but they've been unfulfilled. And then, okay, they've actually been delivered and they've been sent from me. So that's the functionality within VEND. But in regards to an order coming through, what it would basically be is that email from Rocketspark saying you've got a new order. That information and that inventory will be deducted from VEND straight away, and then it'll be on that customer to go out and obviously pick the order from there to say, yes, I've picked this, and set it aside.
So yes, Kath, yes, in answer to your question, it does translate back to Rocketspark.
Yeah, that was a very long-winded way of saying yes.
All good. Anything from anybody else? No, I don't. I think that's kind of it, Jacob. And obviously, we've, as part of this kind of process, Jacob spotted a couple of mistakes that we had on some help guides. So we've gone through and updated those. So there's heaps of very Rocketspark specific VEND help guides in the support portal. And as Jacob said, you can contact through their support team if you get stuck at all.
Yeah. Yeah, Kath, I'll just say it because it's quicker than my typing. Yeah, just flag it in the chat across there on their account to say, hey, look, we need to get an e-commerce store applied within there. What the team will be able to do is change that register to basically an allocated free register to them, so that way they can obviously get it moving forward. If it's been a long-standing thing, yeah, I'm not too sure about the billing thing, if they'd be able to credit it out or anything like that, but if it's been relatively recent, they should be able to, but I'm not too sure. It's best to talk directly to the billing side of things from there. Again, you can do that straight through the chat functionality.
Nice, awesome, cool. All right, well, I will share my screen with the team and just show you how to do the category pick and bit. Jacob, feel free to hang around if you want to see how that works, or
yeah, wouldn't mind.
So basically, jumping over to my VEND store, so you'll see that I've imported it all. I've picked this particular tag just to cut down on the amount of products that's pulling through. If I go to the products tab in my store menu, you'll see that these are blank. What you can do is if you click show, you can choose the ones that you want to show down the side, and then it pulls them down under the filters down the side, same for categories, and same for tags if you wanted to do that as well. So when you've got a fresh import, that's the nice easy way to be able to just pick the brand or the category tags that you want, and that's all set at the VEND level for each product. Cool. Karen's typing something. Other than that, yeah, it's been a good session. Thank you all for coming, and thanks to Jacob for coming along. And oh, you want me to run through that again? Sorry, and I'll just share my screen again. So under the just your products page, you've got these down the side here, and you can remove brands or whatever you want to call them, because you can change those in the store preferences, and then you just click on the ones that have pulled the brands through, and you just add them into whatever you want to show. And same with your tags if you wanted to drop tags in, and then same with your categories as well.